Well, hello and welcome to the Informed Traveler Podcast, a weekly travel podcast where our goal is to help you become a more informed traveler. And I'm your host, Randy Sharman. In a few seconds, we'll catch up with travel expert Onanta Forbes, who was in Colombia this past week. So I'm excited to hear what she's seen and where she's been. Also, June 6th marks the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landing in Normandy, France during World War II and the start of the Battle of Normandy. So we'll get some insight on planning a trip to visit the battle sites and memorials in Normandy. And Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions will be along to give us a few destination ideas and travel deals with our weekly roundup. But first, let's kick things off chatting with travel expert Onanta Forbes, who joins us each week to discuss some of the travel news and travel trends. You can follow her adventures on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. And last week, because I was following her on Instagram, Facebook, and X, she was in Colombia. Hi, Onanta. Where are you right now?
So today I'm in Cartagena. I'm actually have spent a week in Colombia. It started off after we left Quito in Ecuador. We headed to Bogota. The first thing you're going to notice is absolutely the beautiful street art. The murals that are on every wall. It's actually quite legal here to have graffiti street art. And kind of a fun story behind it was, well, not really fun. It was a little tragic. One of Canadian superstars, Justin Bieber, was doing a concert here, and on his way back to the airport, he made them stop in this tunnel, and he did his own form of graffiti, and it was like a stylized Canadian flag. And they shut down the traffic in the area and to do it. And then the next day, a Colombian street arts, a youth, 16 years old, was doing street art, but the police thought he was doing nefarious things, and unfortunately, the young artist was shot and killed. So
Oh my God.
they changed the rules to say that they should have free speech in their art. And now in Bogota, the artistry is absolutely amazing. The messages that are shared, the life of people in Bogota is expressed so very beautifully. So that's what you're going to see first off, and will make an impression of you. We also visit the Botero Museum, and this is in a really gorgeous colonial mansion, and you're going to find the collection of works by this Colombian artist, Fernando Botero. And this is where he over expresses the shape and the form of people, so they're quite uh, luscious, I guess, for the lack of a better word. He's quite a satiric in some respects as well with his art, and it is something that you can enjoy if you haven't been to Bogota. They're quite proud of him because he's a Colombian artist that is quite renowned worldwide. We also went to see the Gold Museum, which has the largest collection of prehistoric gold artifacts in the world. And it was amazing how they create these body armors, and the jewelry is just incredible. How the gold is depicted in the different animals like jaguar, and birds and different kind of fish. Very interesting. We had this gorgeous lunch on top of this place. It's called Montserrat Hill. It's located in the hills east of the city, and then you go up it by funicular railway or cable car, and you can see the beautiful views of Bogota at the very peak. We were lucky. It was raining a bit, but you were able to see the skyline of the city. Just gorgeous. And then from Bogota, we went to the coffee region, and we flew into an airport called Armenia. Do you like coffee?
I love coffee.
You would be in heaven here. Like seriously, we went to a place called San Alberto. It makes the best coffee in Colombia, and here you go to their farm, you go explore, or they take you through the coffee fields, and they show you how it goes from the bean to the actual cultivation and the making of coffee. And they show you how they create two types of coffee, and you get to taste it, and you really feel like, you roll it in your mouth before you drink it, and before all, because a lot of people put sugar or milk, or so it's quite natural in its flavor. And then
Mm-hmm.
just the apparatus that they use to create these coffees. There's a little video on one of my Facebook pages or posts that you can see how they do create it. So if you like coffee, I recommend that you do experience it. We stayed at this great little place called Hacienda Bambusa. We also went for a hike in the Valley de Cocora, and this is a it's like, if you look at the pictures on my Facebook post, it makes you think that you're in Hawaii. These huge, tall palm trees and the rolling valley, and
Uh-huh.
then you get to walk around a little town called Salento, which is famous for the way they paint their doors. Everybody has a different color, but the style is the same. And walking around the town is really neat. You can actually enjoy the fruit that they offer. Fresh fruit is prevalent everywhere. And I love mangoes, but they've created this concoction with green mango, and they put salt and lime in it, and they just gobble it up. It's so tart and eye popping. I like the sweet mango, but you have to try it, right? You're at the destination. So
Mm-hmm.
from here we went to Medellin, and so the first thing I learned about Medellin was how to say it properly. I always said Medellin, but it's Medellin, and this is where, if you remember, like 20 plus years ago, how dangerous it was here because of the Pablo Escobar era,
Mm-hmm.
where he just terrorized this beautiful country. But today, you obviously you're in a different country, so you have to watch your valuables and know where you are. But it's quite a beautiful city to explore, to learn about the different uh, places within the city. We were able to walk around places that were considered back in the day no-go areas, and now it's really growing in tourism and gastronomy and the arts. We had lunch in this botanical gardens. It's an area, it's like a refuge right in the middle of the city. We took the metro to go to um, like the city center. We were quite safe. They are very protective of their metro, so they're if anybody wants to destroy it, they have or do graffiti or anything. They say, oh, go somewhere else and do that. They really are enjoying their metro, and it's really easy to get around with regards to the city. The first kind of touch of Medellin was we went to a flower experience at Santa Elena. And this is where you get told about the flower festival,
Mm-hmm.
and you get shown all this. Gardeners will rejoice. It's such a beautiful place to see all the different um, types of flowers and fauna that they grow. We stayed in this hotel called El Celio, and it's very famous for this person. He's the first chef to lead Colombian cuisine throughout North America. Like, he's in Washington, where it's a Michelin star, and so the food offerings there are quite unique and quite flavorful. So good place to stay while you're there. Again, we were safe within our area, but again, just keep very mindful of where you are, and they'll say, like, one street is very safe, but maybe the next couple of streets you have to be careful. So always listen to your tour guide along the way, and I would recommend that if you're going to do it by yourself, be very aware. And then, exploring Medellin, we went to this park called Park Santonio. Has great sculptures, again, by a local artist called Fernando Botero, which we went to see in Bogota. And then we just just enjoy the city. It's quite a lovely city. There's a lot of public renovation projects as well as art murals. We went to this place called Project or Comuna 13. It's San Javier. So how we explored it is that we took the cable car. It takes 20 minutes to go all the way up, and it's reclaimed land that people took when it was really unsafe in Medellin with the violence that happened, not that long ago, and they built it up. So you can see places that kind of been built one floor for one family and then another family, like it goes out and it has schools there as well as it's quite the community, shopping, grocery stores and such. But it was a great way to see how it all got laid out by this cable car ride. We were taken by a local company that basically they are into the hip hop movement. So we saw rappers, like they'll see tourists and they'll start rapping about them. You find these little hidden gems of galleries where you can buy local artifacts that help the community. The money goes back into it. So it was quite stunning. And then from Medellin, we came to Cartagena, our first taste, literally, of Cartagena. We went on a street food um, tour. So
Oh,
we got to
fun.
taste different foods like fried plantain with cheese. Um, Coconut is really prevalent here, so we had that in desserts. The bread is super yummy, soft and warm with sugar on top. So it was really neat, and you get to learn about the food and how it reflects into the different cultural history and the traditions of this beautiful city. So we're staying within the wall city,
Hmm.
and the hotel is called Saint Augustine. It's just a really nice small hotel. And within the wall city, it's easy to walk around and feel safe. Again, I always stress be very careful of your or surroundings because it's busy. And this weekend is a national holiday, so there's lots of music and dancing, lots of people. The area is really beautiful with like the architecture you're really quite going to enjoy. Like it's got a colonial era within it. We were able to go inside some of the, like it has a facade of these beautiful doors, and then you go in and you see courtyards of beautiful houses and different restaurants and hotels. So it's quite a beautiful city.
Hmm.
And we were able to go to the fort that was here, and it was built in like the 16th and 17th centuries, and this was to ford off pirate attacks. So it's really quite nice. One thing you're going to note when you're here, it's so humid, like hot humid. Oh my gosh, you just steam and drip all at the same time. It's amazing, but it's really nice. And then we went to Boulevard Park, and we, saw the different. There's four different fountains and a statue of Simon Bolivar. So lots to see and do, but it's a good amount of time. Like we're pretty well between 2 and 3 days or nights between all the three cities, and that's a good flavor. And it's a really, all the hosts that we have as far as tour guides are so grateful to have visitors come and tourism come because it's getting more and more established. We were, as I say, I booked this through Abercrombie and Kent. They take care of you along the way. They're very flexible in their itinerary if you want to change. So again, yeah, it's good to come here. It's almost like a developing country because people. It's funny, Randy. One of our tour guides said, people watch Narcos on Netflix and they want to visit all the different places that are shown there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, all the things you say about it. I've been to Cartagena, but it was like 20 years ago, and I've interviewed people, tourism people from Colombia, and they've done an amazing job of turning things around from that image of the
Yes.
drug lords and the violence and all that stuff. And now listening to you is just like, yeah, I want to go back now because
Yeah.
it sounds so amazing. They've done such a tremendous job, and it's a really hard job. I think, to get rid of that stigma.
Absolutely. Yes, it is. And you hear it in their voice when they say, different things may have happened that kind of define their life at that
Hmm.
time and such. So yeah, it's something, we are lucky to have traveled in the world. Um, but if you're seeking something new and different, yeah, this is a great destination to consider. I would definitely bundle it with another country like we did with Ecuador, but there's
Hmm.
other, countries nearby that you can go to as well within South America to make it a very beautiful experience. So today, we're kind of wrapping up our time in Colombia. We're going to go to the Rosario Islands. We're going there by boat. And then we're going to go through the Bay of Cartagena. And then we're going into the Caribbean Sea. And this is where it's like a small group of coral islands. It's about 35 kilometers from Cartagena. And we're going to, be able to see um, a more relaxed area of this beautiful country or city where we're going to take in the beaches and just hopefully see some marine life and just escape the hustle and the bustle of the city and just enjoy the natural beauty that is out
Hmm.
there. A wonderful opportunity to see the country and
Hmm.
to explore it more in detail.
Well, I would think, and I was going to ask you, and you already answered it. You're obviously on a tour of this. I would think that would be the best way to go if you've never been to Colombia, because you do get to see all the highlights, so you probably never would. But I'm curious to know. I would think that because we have discussed before how
Yeah.
Mexico, for example, if you're going to compare the two countries, is getting more and more expensive, and I would think this would be another a different choice if you're looking for something that's a little less expensive. Is that true?
It is true, yes. So in Colombia, they do take US dollars, but also they prefer Colombian pesos, which we've been using. And it is actually, we're not finding it overly expensive at all. In fact, it's quite reasonable, a little less than home, definitely less than being in Mexico. They take credit cards. Obviously, if you're on the street and there's street peddlers, they would prefer cash
Hmm.
um, and such. But yeah, and I, be careful for the amount of cash that you carry on the body. But yeah, I would say that for value for dollar and value for your budget, I think you'll go further in these two countries that I visited, Ecuador and Colombia. Absolutely. Good
Hmm.
points. Very
Well,
good
it all
points.
all sounds amazing. I wish I was there, and but it's not
Yeah.
over. It's not over yet. You got another stop yet before you come home.
Yeah. So we leave tomorrow from Cartagena and we're going to go to Panama. So we're going to spend a week at one of Elite Island Resorts. It's called Las Establos Resort. So it's like on a coffee plantation. So we're looking forward to all the activities that we can do there and or not to do because you also can just go and relax, which is high on everybody's holiday list, I hope. And yeah, so on to our next adventure.
Well, it's all again. I've been following all your adventures, and people can do that on your Facebook page and Instagram. The images are amazing. So I look forward again to next week talking about Panama.
Awesome. You take care, Randy. Have a good week.
Well, June 6th marks the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landing in Normandy, France during World War II and the start of the Battle of Normandy. So joining us now to give us some insight on planning a trip to visit the battle sites, the memorials, and other sites in Normandy is Ben Collier. He's the marketing manager for English-speaking markets for Normandy Tourism. Normandy-tourism.org is the website. Hi, Ben.
Hi there, Andy.
Thank you for doing this. I know this must be a very busy week for you with all the celebrations and commemorations going on.
Yeah, indeed, a very busy week coming up. And what's great is that the weather forecast is good for next week too. So we're really happy about that.
Let's talk about Normandy. I know we are pressed for time here, but I'm a big history buff, and of course, June 6th marks the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion and the Battle for Normandy. I think a lot of people, including myself, they kind of think, okay, June 1st, 1944, and then nothing after that. But boy, there's a whole lot that went on afterwards, wasn't there?
Exactly, there was a lot that went on afterwards because, as you know, the D-Day itself took place on 6th of June, but then the liberation of many towns and cities continued all throughout the summer and even the autumn, you see. So what's important to know is that a lot of people are coming early June and next week. But you can also come during the summer and even later on in the autumn, and there'll still be things going on because a lot of villages and towns will actually be celebrating their liberation later on, you see.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that too because I think if you're going to visit, the week of June 6th this year would be probably the worst time because there's so many dignitaries. Is it normally on June 6th that day as crazy as it's going to be this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be crazy, but for a good reason, of course, because numerous heads of states are going to be in Normandy. The only real challenging day is going to be 6th of June itself, because on that day, there's going to be a very large sector stretching from the city of Caen all the way to the beaches, which is going to be cordoned off. So if you don't have a pass, you won't be able to access that sector anyway. But the rest of the week's going to be fine. And, you know, this cordoned off sector is going to be lifted at 10 in the evening. And festivities, celebrations are even starting this weekend. On the 1st of June, on Saturday, we have a huge firework display, which is going to be lighting up the 5 landing beaches at the same time. So at nightfall on this Saturday, there's going to be a massive firework display, actually 20 firework displays taking place at the same time on the 5 landing beaches. And this is just going to be the beginning of the celebrations, you see.
Okay, well, let's talk about just visiting in general. It doesn't have to be on the June 6th day or anything like that. As you mentioned, you can visit any time of year. How do I start planning? There is so much to see, and your website does a really good job of breaking it down, of seeing all the different sites.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, a lot of people associate Normandy to the D-Day landing beaches, but that's just one element of Normandy, you see. Normandy is like a world to itself. It's actually quite a big region, and it stretches, we have over 300 miles of coastline. It will take you around 5 hours to drive from one end of the region to the other. And there's just so much to see and do, you see. We have glorious beaches. We also have the D-Day landing beaches. We have the world-famous Mont Saint-Michel, which is in Normandy. We have the gardens of Claude Monet in Giverny. We have the famous breathtaking cliffs of Étretat on the Alabaster Coast. We have picture-perfect villages and ports such as Honfleur. We have Bayeux with the world-famous Bayeux Tapestry. We have Rouen, which has France's highest cathedral. I mean, you name it. There's so much to see and do. And not forgetting the gastronomy, the cheese, the food. We're a region of dairy products, apple products, Calvados, cheese. We've got so much here to come and savor.
Well, I'm beginning to think it's not a place just to visit for a day to see the Normandy landings and the D-Day artifacts. It's a place you want to stay for maybe a week or so.
Yeah, I mean, ideally a week. We recommend a minimum of 3 nights. It's important to see Claude Monet's gardens in Giverny, especially if you're traveling from Paris, because people don't realize, but Giverny is only an hour away from Paris. You can either catch the train, it's really easy. There's a train station in Vernon-Giverny, or you can rent a car from Paris, even from the airport, and 1 hour later you'll be in Giverny. Giverny is the gateway to Normandy. And then an extra hour down the road, you'll be in Rouen, which is Normandy's capital city. I know that Rouen is quite difficult to pronounce, but Rouen is an amazing city. It's like a mini Paris. It has the highest number of listed buildings and monuments outside Paris. It has France's highest cathedral. And in the summer months, there's a beautiful light show on the facade of the cathedral. It's one of the highlights of Impressionism too, because Normandy is the birthplace of Impressionism. So those are just 2 locations which are close to Paris. And then if you continue on the A13 motorway, you get to Honfleur, which the visitors adore. You then visit Caen, which is Normandy's second largest city with the famous Memorial Museum. You can visit the seaside resorts of Deauville and Trouville, then the landing beaches, go to Bayeux, all the way down to the Mont Saint-Michel. Once again, there's just so much to see and do.
Well, exactly. And you also, I'm a big Monet fan, so now I'm really interested, not as a history buff, but as a lover of Monet as well. And you did mention too that it is easy to travel around in Normandy, even if you don't have a car, too, right?
We have a very good public transportation system in Normandy. And actually, 3 years back, the Normandy region actually invested in 40 new trains. So we've got 40 brand new trains in Normandy, which are fully equipped, which have Wi-Fi, aircon, and so on. And they can take you from Paris to Rouen, from Paris to Dieppe, which is the closest seaside resort to Paris, and which has one of France's most beautiful markets. You can get to Le Havre too, which is a UNESCO-listed city. You can also visit the seaside resorts of Deauville and Trouville, which are very trendy, chic seaside resorts. And you can even travel from Paris Montparnasse station all the way to the Mont Saint-Michel, you see. You have to get off at a station called Pont-Orson, but from there there's a shuttle bus which takes you to the Mont Saint-Michel, so it's very easy.
Talk about the accommodations too. If I'm staying there, what kind of accommodations can I expect?
We have everything. We have gîtes, which are kind of like B&Bs. You see, we can have bed and breakfast, which are served by the locals. We have 3-star hotels, 4-star hotels. We have beautiful 5-star hotels. And the thing is, the 5-star hotels we have in France, especially in Normandy, aren't as expensive as the ones you can get elsewhere, especially in the US. Just to give you an example, there's a 5-star hotel in the heart of Rouen, which is Normandy's capital city. Right, I'm going to pronounce this because it's quite difficult. you won't have to say it after. But the Hôtel de Bourteroulde, which is a 5-star hotel in the heart of Rouen, you can find basically nights there for €250 a night. So, I mean, once again, you see, it's a no-brainer. We have beautiful accommodations. There's another beautiful 5-star hotel in Deauville called the Normandy Hotel, and that's a very famous hotel. That's actually where President Joe Biden's going to be staying in a few days. So yeah, we have beautiful 5-star hotels, beautiful countryside resorts. We have everything once again, and we have a little bit of everything here in Normandy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would think, as you mentioned too, summertime is a busy time. Is there a quieter time where you can maybe avoid some of the crowds, and would it be like any other shoulder season?
Well, we recommend shoulder season. We recommend visiting spring or autumn. Autumn is usually a very nice season in Normandy. The temperatures are still pretty fair, and you really get what we call impressionist skies, you see. The reason why the impressionist painters fell in love with Normandy is because of the lightscapes, of the skyscapes, basically these ever-changing skies and lights you get in the skies, you see. And so we recommend visiting in May, June, even March. Basically, from March to October, the weather's pretty fair. We do get quite a lot of rain in Normandy, but that's also what makes the place so beautiful. The famous painter David Hockney, he now lives and works in Normandy, and he fell in love with Normandy because he said everything's just so green, and it's just life everywhere. You see flowers, and that's why Claude Monet's gardens are here too. So you can easily visit from March all the way to October, November. And then, of course, in December, we have Christmas markets and so on. The only months I wouldn't recommend are January and February, because lots of hotels and museums especially are closed in January. But, from end February, when it's the school holidays here in France, people start visiting here again.
Mm-hmm. Just getting back to the D-Day and the Battle of Normandy, must be a very moving experience, some of the sites, the places to visit.
It's very, very moving, you see. It's an experience. You have to visit here. Whether you're Canadian, American, British, the Allies, all the Allies countries, you must come to Normandy at least once in your life. There are so many moving places. The beaches, of course, the cemeteries. If you visit the American cemetery in Colleville-sur-Mer, it's just so moving, especially when they lower the flags in the evening. And a new addition is the British Normandy Memorial, which is overlooking Gold Beach. And this place is so special because this year they've installed 1,475 silhouettes of the soldiers, which basically represent the number of fatalities British fatalities on D-Day. And these 1,475 silhouettes, which have their heads bowing in remembrance, they've been installed all round the British Normandy Memorial in Vers-sur-Mer, overlooking Gold Beach. And I really recommend visiting this place because it's so moving, and the silhouettes will be visible all summer.
Well, it all sounds like an amazing experience. I know you're pressed for time. We could go on forever because, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm a big history buff. And then we could get to talking about Monet. So, but anyways, I do appreciate your time. People planning a visit, I guess the best thing to do is go on your website. You do break it down wonderfully. Normandy-tourism.org is the website. Any last recommendations?
Once again, everyone's welcome in Normandy. Both Normandy and Brittany have the reputation of being the most welcoming regions in France. So English-speaking visitors or visitors from throughout the world will always receive a very warm welcome in Normandy. Once again, we have a bit of everything. We have bustling cities. We have beautiful villages. We have lovely, heavenly food and drink. We have great beaches, world-famous sites. So come and see us. Visit our website, normandy-tourism.org, and you'll find all about our Normandy experiences, our highlights, and our hidden gems too.
Well done, Ben. I really appreciate your time. Ben Collier is a marketing manager for English-speaking markets for Normandy Tourism. Again, the website, normandy-tourism.org. Thanks a lot, Ben.
Thanks, Randy.
This is the Informed Traveler Podcast. I'm Randy Sharman. Just want to remind you of our website, theinformedtraveler.org. That's where you'll find our contact page if you have any questions or comments about the podcast. You can also email me as well with any questions you might have or show ideas. My email address is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you want to get up-to-date travel info through the week or just see a few amusing travel stories and links, you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/informedtraveler or on Instagram @informedtraveler, or you can follow me on X @informedtraveler. So now, as always, we'd like to end the show with our weekly roundup, and joining us to do that is Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions.
Well, it was really good to see you and your wife at the Peru event this week. We had a little dinner seminar there, and it looks like a really exciting country. I know Gary has been and has got plans to go back again and do a visit and see some more. Again, the biggest draw probably is Machu Picchu. That everybody's familiar with, but there's so many more areas to visit. You got the Sacred Valley, all kinds of ancient ruins, Lake Titicaca. You have the Nazca lines for those UFO enthusiasts. Surfing, both on the water and on the sand dunes in the desert. All kinds of hiking in canyons and all kinds of mountain trains. We even have a bit of the Amazon in there too. So. And then you add all that in with what looked like the really colorful culture and friendly people. And a lot of the major cities that are down there, surprised Lima is one of the number one restaurant in the world for 2023 called The Central.
Yeah.
So again, culinary, all kinds of things to eat and that there. So again, just so much to offer. So I think it's it's one of those places you could go and probably spend the whole month if you wanted to and had the budget. But definitely 10, 14 days or whatever is going to get you a lot of highlights. And with us as well, there were some suppliers. The three that were there were Go Away, and they have all kinds of tours, and they can customize independent travel. Again, if there's specific things that you want to go and see and do. G Adventures has all kinds of multiple tours, and they've been doing it for a lot of years, and they work a lot with the local people and everything like that included in their tours. So restaurants that they use are local, hotels that they use are local, and they've got guaranteed permits, which you now need to be able to visit Machu Picchu, which is a good thing. So you don't have to worry about that. It's automatically included when you book your trip for them. And Exotica has some really great tours there too, multi-day tours. And right now they've got a special on too with Exotica. So if you book one of those Peru tours or kind of any tour with Exotica, you're going to get a $700 voucher to rebook another tour with them as long as you book that and deposit it by the end of November, so you can travel anytime in 2025 or later.
Well, the thing what struck me is it's one of those places, talking about Peru and Machu Picchu especially, where you kind of do want to have a tour company guiding you. It's not one of those things you want to do on your own, right?
No. I mean, unless you're, really well traveled and you were looking at maybe doing some of the hiking or, things like that. But even then, you're going to have, probably want to have a tour guide or whatever with you. And speaking of those three suppliers as well, G Adventures also has found out a summer sale right now, 50% off all their Galapagos sailings for this summer. Still, they still got some space, so I mean, those are some great savings. And Galapagos,
Yeah.
again, is limited to the number of people that they can go, so the boats and everything are small. So, again, if it's been on your radar and you think you might have time to get away, give us a call.
Well, just getting back to Peru too, and G Adventures. A lot of these, like Go Away, G Adventures, Exotica, it's not as pricey as you might think to spend 10 days or 2 weeks
No,
visiting
no.
all the areas there.
Yeah, no, very, very economical. And again, all kinds of tours and levels of, like I know with Exotica, for example, they have three different levels of accommodation. You can do their charm, which is basically like a three to 4 star. Then they have their superior, and they also have their luxury. So again, you can do exactly the same tour that everybody else is doing, but you can choose the types of accommodations that you want.
Exactly.
Gary, Mr. Asia, got all excited this week. WestJet's now doing year-round flights to Tokyo starting in October this year.
Okay.
So again, Japan is another great destination, lots to see and do, and Tokyo also provides a great connection point for other destinations to Southeast Asia. So he reminded me he also has an exclusive group for you foodies out there that are listening with your own guide, Ha Fam. And his claim to fame was he was the production manager and tour guide for Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, wow.
Which I'm sure everybody's familiar with the name, famous chef and cultural traveler. And when he filmed his show over there, so space is limited. So reach out to Gary sooner than later for that. And if you're not a foodie, we can still put together your own personal vacation based on whatever it is you want to do, whether it be Japan or anywhere over in Southeast Asia. Exotic Tours has a special package for you Formula One racing fans. Exciting Qatar, 4 days, 3 nights. Add extra days or other countries per your post on this one for your trips. This is for this November to early December, starting at only $7.99 double occupancy. So that's a great price, and you can also upgrade. But you're getting 3 nights accommodation, 3 meals, 3 breakfasts. Return airport transfers on a private basis, entrance for all 3 days to the Formula One event, 3-day access to the free seating within the T16 grandstand, entrance to the F1 fan village, all kinds of entertainment, activities for adults, kids, live entertainment, access to the food court, broad selection of food and international cuisine, entry to all the post-race concerts featuring international and Arabic artists. We've got access to F1 merchandise and complimentary return shuttles between the metro station and the circuit. So again, lots of inclusion, and $7.99. I thought that was a really good price for an F1
no
race.
kidding.
I mean, you're not even. I don't think you could. Well, you might get just a seat in Vegas for that price.
Exactly, right?
That's
amazing.
This is a brand new grandstand that they're opening. It's on corner number 16. If you're a F1 fan, you can Google, look it up or whatever. But apparently it's got a couple corners in there, and it's just before the last stretch, so it'll be a good place if people are trying to win the race and do their thing.
Nice. That'd be fun.
It would be. Sandals Adult Only Luxury Resorts don't often have a lot of sales on, but right now, some of the roads like Ochi, South Coast, Royal Plantation, all butler service rooms or whatever, got special rates until June 9th, so still some time to take advantage of that. And when you book 5 nights, you get a free catamaran cruise, and if you do 7 nights or more, you get an additional $250 resort credit to pamper yourself, and you can combine both of those if you're doing a 7 days. So again, some great opportunities, and Sandals got some wonderful resorts out there in the Caribbean.
Yeah, nice.
And we like to harp, and again, so whether or not you're traveling or not, check your passports, check your other important documents, PR cards, Nexus cards, whatever you need to use to travel, make sure they're valid. A lot of times passports may need to be valid for a minimum of 6 months after your travel date for many countries or destinations. Good example is we're doing some clients on a group trip to Iceland. And Iceland, your passport has to be valid for 90 days past the end of your trip. So a couple of people had to go out and get new passports because they're traveling this fall. And I know a trip I'm looking at in September. My passport expired 3 days early. So again, we mentioned that. I'm working on that. And when I do the process, I'll update you all just to let you know how easy peasy that is. And again, lots of times check out to see if you need visas or anything. Because again, a lot of the countries, especially all the sun destinations, are requiring a online visa that you need to do before you travel. And those are like Jamaica, Punta Cana, Cuba, all those kind of ones like that. So again, put that down, make a little note. And again, another reason to be using a travel agent, because we're going to remind you, and we're going to get you hooked up with those links so that you don't have any issues when you do arrive if you did forget to do it.
Excellent.
Graduation season is upon us. I know my granddaughter graduated. Congrats, Abby. Again, a lot of times, think of maybe a gift certificate for the grad. We do travel certificates, and they can be at any amount from $10, $15, $25 to $2,000, depending on what you want to spend for them. And again, the great thing is it's like a gift card or whatever. It's never going to expire until it's totally used up. So again, and that way they can choose when and where they want to travel. And there are a couple of companies like Contiki and other ones too that you can buy deposits. And again, they never expire, so they can pick one of their tours when they're ready to travel. Lastly, we just want to remind everybody that online pricing is almost always identical to when any agent can find you. But not only can we assist you before, help with some suggestions like the visas, things like that. So if you've never used a real life travel agent, try one. There's lots of really good ones out there. You might like how easy the process is and how much more enjoyable in the end your vacation is.
And what is that number if they want to have a conversation?
Yeah, here in Calgary, you can call us at 403-241-7140. And outside Calgary, it's toll-free 1-877-511-5511. And you too can relax. It's all taken care of.
Indeed, sir.
Have a wonderful week, everyone.
And that is our show for this week. If you have comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a show idea, send that along as well. My email is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you like what you heard, tell a friend. You can check out our website too at theinformedtraveler.org. In the meantime, thanks for listening, travel safe, and be an informed traveler.